A diagnostic study is a systematic attempt to understand the scale, scope and depth of the issue facing a cluster. Detailed interactions with different cluster members can often reveal various dimensions of the problem and also possible ways of solving them. Take the case of occupational health and safety in Tiruchirappalli. The diagnostic study revealed that employees felt that accidents on the shop floor were inevitable, that nothing could be done to prevent them.
ஆரம்பத்துலலாம் அந்த தொழிலில் வந்து மேக்ஸிமம் விபத்துகள் நிறைய ஏற்படும். கையிலையோ காலில் மண்டையில் இது மாதிரி விபத்துகள் நிறைய ஏற்படும்.
Clearly, employees needed a training program. But who could help conduct it? And where would the resources come from? The diagnostic study revealed that customers of these MSMEs or large corporations like BHEL and Suzlon were keen to improve the health and safety conditions of the smaller units.
We have about 350 industries working with us for the last 40 years. And the industries which have grown with us, we have a duty to help them to do all the functions like we are doing here. We have helped them to get ISO 9001 certification so that whatever quality products they make, it is as good as BHL quality. And whatever systems we have, we wanted them also get the benefit of it. So we have been implementing HSE system in BHL for the last 7 years. We wanted to share these concepts and practices so that they also become accident free, they also become people oriented companies.
For our own employees, we have very strict measures of health and safety, all legal compliance. But when some material comes from outside, we wanted to be sure that it is produced by standards which even in international markets should be respectable.
Surely BHEL and Suzlon could help in implementing a training program on occupational health and safety. Locating such possibilities is an important component of the diagnostic study.
The diagnostic study of a cluster helps us to understand the criticality of each of the problems that the cluster faces in terms of its scope as well as depth. This we do by mapping the entire value chain and also looking at the problems that the community around the cluster faces. The diagnostic study, through a structured scheduled interviews with community stakeholders, helps us to analyze these aspects much better and also therefore come up with a detailed strategy of how to execute the project. The strategy also helps us to identify the key stakeholders, both individuals as well as institutions, that need to be involved to carry out the work.
And once the diagnostic study is over, the next critical phase begins: trust building. One important activity for an outside facilitator is to help entrepreneurs come together and share a common goal. This is not always easy. Take the case of the Rourkela entrepreneurs who are required to use 5% of their profits for community development. The possibility of forming a society for joint action was explored, but entrepreneurs had their doubts.
First doubt or questions my friend industrialists they had in their mind was whether the district administration, district authorities, they will recognize the society, they will appreciate the work being done by the society and acknowledge the expenses incurred in this line. I think this was the biggest difficulty which we thought we'll be having.
Entrepreneurs in Tiruchirappalli too were skeptical about coming together to improve occupational health and safety conditions.
For example, a small-scale industrialist would want to ask me, why should I join this program? Because I'm quite happy with what's going on. My labor is contract labor, and I have to spend money to get into this program, and it's not going to give me any tangible returns immediately, so why should I join this program?
Of course, we have faced a lot of hurdles prior to implementation itself, because we are not able to bring all the units together at a time, and we faced some cooperation, a lack of cooperation in ourselves.
The external facilitator can play a critical role in overcoming such hurdles.
Certain degree of trust and mistrust is often visible in most local communities and clusters. The external facilitator brings in a neutral viewpoint and is above board than most other members. He also brings in certain examples from other clusters where people have actually collaborated to do things better collectively. The cluster development initiative often takes a local group to outside successful clusters and helps to break this ice not only with him but also among themselves, so that they could do even better than how the other clusters have performed.
Apart from building trust between entrepreneurs, the external facilitator can also help create linkages with knowledge institutions, government agencies and funding bodies, just to name a few. For instance, in Jalandhar, the program tied up with the government's National Child Labour Program in order to run the special schools for children who have been removed from work. And in Tiruchirappalli, UNIDO was able to involve BHEL and Suzlon in the implementation and funding of training programs for MSME employees.
Everybody, every stakeholder felt it was a need, but it was not possible individually to come together. So we facilitated this coming together.
In the same cluster, the program also enlisted the support of the Joint Chief Inspector of Factories.
I am ready to spare my inspector of factories to deliver a safety lectures. Instead, they have made our job easy. Instead of going to each and every factory, convince them to organize a safety course and conducting this, through association the job is made easy.
Once such linkages with supporting institutions have been established and the entrepreneurs are together on a platform of trust, the next phase begins, the action plan. Jalandhar. This is one of the functioning tuition centers. Let's say that the program now wants to start 20 more centers. A large number of questions will now have to be answered. What will be the costs involved? Which neighborhoods will be chosen? Are there schools or religious institutions that can provide the space for the centers? Are there any supporting institutions who can take on the various responsibilities? What will be the time frame? And so on. Answers to all such questions have to be worked out and put on paper. This will be the blueprint for implementation, the action plan.
People often make the mistake of not writing down a detailed action plan, believing that the degree of mutual trust which may have been built up by looking at other successful examples will do the trick, or the motivation that people have now got will actually do the trick. But without a detailed action plan, neither the feasibility of that particular work which they want to do together is very clear, nor the roles and responsibilities are very clear. And therefore, a detailed action plan with the timeline and roles, responsibilities and resources required is very critical.
Converting an action plan into concrete activities is the next important step. For this, the men and women implementing the program will need the capacities to be built so that they can deliver the desired outcomes. Such a capacity building process has allowed SGFI in Jalandhar to manage a range of programs like microcredit and health.
Already the Sports Good Foundation of India was working on a key issue which was child labour here. So we came here and become a partner of this Sport Good Foundation of India and other industry association in Jalandhar. And in partnership we try to increase their capacity just to go for more activities.
Because of the UNIDO and SGFI program, we have been able to build the capacity of a lot of community-based workers. For example, people who work at the self-help groups, their presidents, their secretaries, people who work in a health program or even in a monitoring program. By doing this, they have built a level of trust within us, and it becomes easier for us to implement any kind of program we want to within the community.
In the case of Rourkela, there is now a full-fledged secretariat looking after social responsibility issues.
Now at LBI PDS we have a complete administrative setup who is taking care of all the things. We got a project manager who is coordinating everything. Then we have separate wings. We got a wing to take care of all the medical services. We got a wing to take care of all the infrastructure development requirements of the periphery.
Implementing such social responsibility programs will invariably involve a number of institutions, and this will require considerable coordination.
As far as health program is concerned, our society by and large plans and implements the program, but in case of the infrastructure building program, the block administration plays an important role. They finalize the list of projects to be undertaken and the place where it will be undertaken and the budget. Afterwards, the society by the help of its infrastructure building team plans and hires the contractor and implements the program.
जो मेडिकल जो टीम है अपना पेरिफेरी सोसाइटी का, वो टीम को हम लोग पूरा कोऑपरेट करते हैं। पूरा मंथ का हम लोग लिस्ट बनाते हैं। लिस्ट जो भी पंचायत है, जितना भी हम लोग का पंचायत इधर 10 पंचायत है, प्रत्येक पंचायत में जाते हैं, वार्ड मेंबर सरपंच के साथ मिल के उनका गांव में जिस एरिया में मलेरिया ज़्यादा है, जिस एरिया में हैजा है, इस एरिया का लिस्ट एक बना के मंथली का रिपोर्ट हम लोग बना के सोसाइटी को देते हैं। सोसाइटी उसी हिसाब से अपना टीम भेजते हैं।
Implementation may not always be smooth. There will be challenges.
ये एक मल्टी स्टेक होल्डर प्रोजेक्ट है। इसमें बहुत सारे स्टेक होल्डर्स हैं। जैसे हमारा जहाँ पे प्रोग्राम इम्प्लीमेंट होता है वहाँ जो प्राइमरी स्टेक होल्डर हैं, ग्रास रूट लेवल के पब्लिक, और हमारा गवर्नमेंट का भी यहाँ पे रिप्रेजेंटेटिव हैं, और हमारा यहाँ स्टाफ हैं, और हमारा जो फंड जो देते हैं जहाँ से आती है, जैसे स्पॉन्ज आयरन यूनिट्स के ओनर्स, हमारा प्रेसिडेंट सेक्रेटरी, ये चार सेक्शन से हमारा ये जो स्टेक होल्डर लोग हैं। तो इन सबको एक प्लेटफॉर्म में लाना और कोई प्रोग्राम को प्लान करके इम्प्लीमेंट करने में बहुत समय लग जाता है।
In Tiruchirappalli, entrepreneurs who were part of the program often found it difficult to spare their employees for training purposes.
We have a lot of pressure in the industry today. As you know, power sector is booming and we have shortage of manpower. Retaining them is even more difficult. So under the circumstances, to get these people to spend, for example, we had a 5-day program for the safety stewards. It really took a lot of effort on the part of the industry itself. You can't blame them because they really have genuine problems of not being able to send their people.
Sometimes it may happen that the local community is dissatisfied about the implementation. It happened, for instance, in Rourkela.
बलंडा हमारा एक पंचायत है, वहाँ का सरपंच आई हुई थी ऑफिस में, और उनका कहना था कि लास्ट मंथ से उनका पंचायत में जो 4 गांव है उन गांव में क्यों नहीं हो रहा है कैंप, और वो बोल रहे थे कि पब्लिक मेरे पीछे घर में पड़ रहे हैं, मुझे मतलब दौड़ा रही है मरने के लिए कि क्यों अभी हमारे गांव सब में नहीं हो रहा है, जबकि हमारे गांव के पास फैक्ट्री है और इतना पोल्यूशन हो रहा है, हमारा तबीयत खराब हो रहा है, क्यों नहीं हो रहा है।
The implementing agency has to have the skills to overcome such inevitable challenges.
Implementation is about negotiating these challenges and hurdles in every cluster development process that we have to negotiate with. And implementation is not just execution of a detailed and meticulous action plan. It also has to ensure that while delivering the results, the local capacities are also built up, so as to ensure that even if the cluster development agent leaves the ground, the work continues. It's a very intensive and a process-oriented approach.
In the course of implementation, several questions need to be asked all the time. Is the program following the planned time schedule? What has been the progress? What are the key bottlenecks? How can they be overcome? Is the expenditure according to plans? And what are the plans for the immediate future? These questions need to be answered periodically in order to ensure that the program is on course.
Why do we monitor cluster initiatives? Not to punish the people who have been responsible for delivering the results but have not been able to. The idea is to understand what prevented or facilitated the achievement, and whatever lessons that we draw out of these examples, the monitoring process actually helps us to not only correct the implementation measures that we may have taken in the existing cluster, but also assist in other clusters where similar initiatives have to be taken.
selecting an appropriate MSME cluster, carrying out a diagnostic study, building trust, preparing an action plan, implementing it with a process-oriented approach, and monitoring and evaluation. These are the critical components of a cluster-based development approach to foster responsible behavior. It's an approach that allows MSMEs in a particular geographical area to fulfill their social responsibilities and by doing so, ensure a growth that is sustainable.